Quack, 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 quack. What's up, nerds? It's your boy. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here on the 20th day of September in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat 2023. It is a cold and depressing fall morning here on Site B, and it is I, your Wednesday morning guide to all the tabletop role-playing game crowdfunding projects that are coming to an end. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. That is an actual product. Duckborg, taking the grim, dark, post-apocalyptic, end-of-the-world, art metal, heavy metal, death metal role-playing game, Morkborg, and now have it be about ducks. I mean, I thought Borkborg was the best thing ever because it was Morkborg, but with dogs, and Borkborg is just a great name. But then somebody said, oh no, I see you and I'll raise you one with Duckborg. Now, ducks adventuring seems to sort of go against the whole idea of Morkborg, but maybe that's the best way to look at Morkborg because, you know, everybody who like Morkborg was like, oh, well, this is an amazing art book. And other people are like, this art's not amazing. I mean, really, it was just sort of, you know, cut and paste stuff that they found on the internet. But everybody else was like, well, yeah, the art's great, but the actual game is kind of like, And everybody who's made stuff for it since is like, well, the only way to really enjoy this game is to make fun of this grim, dark, end of the world, post-apocalyptic fantasy role play. And the best way to do that is just to make fun of it. Just to go, no, that's actually not a thing. Nobody wants to play that. So why not we have it be about dogs or ducks? So yes. This is just beautiful. So Duckborg comes to us from a company called Gem Room Games. It's $25 for the PDF and the print version. And it is ducks in the world of Morkborg adventuring. I love it. I love it. Brings me back, you know, DuckTales, obviously. Woo-hoo, DuckTales, no dude. Okay, from Cross Path Press, we have Brambletech, a GM-less RPG adventure game book. The core rule book is $15 for the PDF and the print version, and a soundtrack. It's an adventure where you play an anthropomorphic mouse adventuring, doing stuff. What motivates your mouse to go out into the world and adventure? But it's a solo, GM-less game book. So basically, as with all these things, it's a creative writing prompt and a 99-cent store folder. Now, I know I give these things a lot of shit, and I know people are like, no, you know, solo role-playing is the thing. Look at the Lone Wolf adventures and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. But this is basically, you're paying $15 for a creative writing prompt and something you can get at the 99-cent store for $1.09. And then there's some art in there. So I'm so on the shelf every time I see these things. It's like, well, yeah, I get it. I see it. You know, I want to support these indie creators. But the other hand, you know, people don't have a lot of money, and I don't want to justify somebody spending $17, $20, $30 for basically a creative writing prompt and a folder that they could get for, you know, $1.09 at any 99-cent store. So I'm probably not the best person to review these. From Cobalt Press, we have something that has absolutely nothing to do with Tales from the Valiant. This is another one of their source books. This one is Campaign Builder. It's called Castles and Crowns for 5th edition, and also for Tales from the Valiant. So we have the first Tales from the Valiant adjacent product before we actually have Tales from the Valiant. I'm drinking coffee, by the way. My first coffee in a while. As it's getting cold. $50 is the most popular pledge for the PDF and the print version. And it is a book about campaign building, running governments, building castles, stuff like that. So if you've ever wanted to do all the fun of campaign building without all the rigmarole of like the other stuff, yeah. So this is it. And it won an award. Well, it was nominated for an award for best cartography. So yeah, this is always, you know, these books have always been Kobold's bread and butter, just making these amazing source books and adventure books and stuff for their home world. So we'll see how it plays out with Tales from the Valiant supposedly coming out. But yeah. Then we've got a deck of cards. This one's called 50 Faces in the Crowd. It's a systemless fantasy RPG cards from Philip Reed Games. It's $4 for a PDF of the deck. Is there an actual deck? So if I give you $4, I get the PDF. That's totally pointless because I have to print the deck out, which means I either just print it on paper or I have to go get cardstock. But anyways, I have to print it out, so I might as well just buy the deck. And it is 50 random NPCs with each one having a little bit of stuff behind them. I love the cards. This is relatively inexpensive. I don't know about how I feel about, because you still have to buy the cardstock to print them out. So you end up just pretty much spending the same amount of money that you would have if you just got the cards from the guy. So just get the cards if you want to use them and don't bother with the $4 thing. Here's something that looks familiar. The ERA, the Empowered 5th Anniversary Superhero Tabletop RPG from Shades of Vengeance. That's coming to an end. If you did not join us yesterday, we had a chance to interview the creator of ERA and just sort of talk about it. I mean, obviously, I don't know if I did a great job. I don't know if we'll ever hear from Ed again. I hope we will, but I don't know. I have a feeling, I probably not. So we had a chance to interview this guy, having talked to him about the game. I have a little better understanding of how the system works. It's still, I'm sorry, Ed, I love you. I appreciate you reaching out to me, but I don't know if it works for me. But I'd love to, if Ed ever talked to us again, I'd love him to talk us through character creation. That's probably something I should have asked. Anyways, that Kickstarter is coming to an end. It's the ERA D10 system. $70 is the most popular pledge for the PDF and the print version of the book. If you're looking for a different take on superhero role-playing games, check this out. From Gaxland, this is from Heidi and her husband, Eric Gygax. Heidi being one of the daughters of Gary Gygax. This is a 5e alternate 1950s horror setting called Shadows over Lake Geneva. $55 is the most popular pledge. Gives you the PDF and the print version of the books, as well as maps, dice, and additional stuff. So if you're looking for an alternative take on post-World War II America, using D&D 5e to create a horror, 1950s style horror, B-movie kind of thing, then this could be your thing. I don't know. Is 5e a good engine for horror? 1950s. Well, I mean, for the sort of the ridiculousness of 1950s, B-movie celluloid Hammer Films horror, maybe. I mean, it's like, as I always say about 5e, it's a great engine. It's just not a great engine for Dungeons and Dragons style of play. But there's other styles of play that I think 5e would work perfectly with. Horror's not one of them. But post-World War II, 1950s horror could be. You'd really have to understand the genre. I mean, you'd have to watch a lot of Universal horror films that came out in the 50s, a lot of the, giant monster, atomic age movies that came out to get that really sort of over-the-top 1950s, black and white. I've only got 45 minutes to tell the entire movie. Style. So it wouldn't be my go-to, but yeah, maybe 5e would work for this style of play. I'd have to see it. Maybe there's a demo. From Claymore, we have Fist, Paranormal Mercenary RPG box set for Powered by the Apocalypse. This is $100 for the PDF and the print version of the game. What basically the premise is, what if James Bond fought the supernatural? Your Cold War mercenaries who have strange powers and weird devices that are out fighting other strange powers and weird devices like, vampires and giant robots. Now, shouldn't have used something that, if the game's called Fist, this shouldn't have been the name of the organization, and FIST would have been an acronym for something. But no, you don't work for a company called Fist. You work for a company called Cyclops, which I assume isn't an acronym for something, like United Nations Intelligence Task Force or United Nations Council for Law Enforcement, So, I'm not sure. Also, wasn't there a video game called Fist? No, that was Fear. That's what I'm looking at, Fear. Do we need another modern day horror, normal people with guns versus monsters game? Because there's a lot of them. Maybe, I don't know, $100 for a Powered by the Apocalypse game. That seems a little pricey and sort of goes against the whole punk rock attitude of Powered by the Apocalypse. This thing, we've talked about this thing before, the Level Up 5e starter box set that comes with example characters. We've taken a look at the example characters. It's basically a slightly more complicated, slightly more powerful, but slightly better take on 5e. I'm not sure if I kind of like the idea of using plus dice instead of just static pluses, except with the plus dice, you could technically never fail, because if I roll a 1 and a 1, that's a 2, right? So that means I didn't fail, unless double ones is a super automatic fail. But if I just roll a 1, and what if I roll a d20 and the d20 is 1, but the d4 is 2? That's 3, which means I didn't fumble, right? So does that circumvent the 1 on a d20 is always on a 1? Or do you now only fumble if you roll a 1 on the d20 and a 1 on the d4? Because your chances of fumbling are significantly less, to the point of, 1 in a couple thousand to, 1 to the 24th power for you to roll double bundles, unless double, that's super critical, super fumble, normal fumble, super critical, and normal critical. Maybe then, I don't know. Anyways, this is $30. It's already gone down for the PDF, virtual tabletop, and Prince box sets. That's weird, because they've reached 36,797, 514 backers, 22 days to go. Let's see, the digital starter box set is 15. The Level Up AE starter box is now 30. That's $38. It has gone down, because last time I checked it, it was like 50. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's gone down. Yeah, it's definitely gone down. Curiosity says, yeah, pick this up. Realistically, I'm like, I'm never going to use it, so why should I pick it up? But if you're looking for a good alternative take to 5e that is going to be constantly supported with a high level of quality, this could be your game to go. As you know, I keep referring to this as my Chad Gable, my could have been, my also won, my people's champion. This is the game that, is just consistently being the workhorse and not involving itself with the politics. So yeah, good luck to them. And then we have this, which is quite possibly the most ridiculous thing I've seen this week. From Severed Books, we have the zine spinner rack for A5 size books. $299 gets you the spinner rack. Now, if you're like me, you're like, I don't know, OGGM, that looks really familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen spinner racks before. Because, yeah, spinner racks have been around since the 70s. For comic books, greeting cards, gift cards, whatever. These things exist. So all this guy is doing is taking something that already exists and including with it shelf talkers for relatively for game companies. So for $300, you can get a comic book spinner and then these little shelf talkers for a couple different companies. The only one you probably would have heard of would be Renegade, maybe Morkborg. The rest of these, nobody, people would be in like, who's that? So basically, yeah. Now, I don't know how much a comic book spinner rack costs, but they're relatively inexpensive because you see them everywhere. I dare you to go into, a big box store or a market and not find one, at least with like greeting cards in it or comic books or magazines or even the ones where they hang the batteries on or gift cards. They've been around forever and they're everywhere. And usually you can just find them in the trash. I mean, you see them if you go behind like a Target, you'll see these in the trash all the time and you could just get one. So I don't know, dude, $300 for this just seems like, I hate comic book spinner rack. All right, let's just see if this guy is... Well, here's a 4 tier 1 for $30. Here's a standard one for $60. Here's one for $51. Here's a shoe tree. That's another take on it. $237 for a shoe tree seems a little pricey. Here's here's one for $90, $70, $70. So, man, dude, I don't know. $300 feels a little pricey for basically a comic book spinner rack. We have a novel from... Someday I'm going to get in trouble for bagging on these guys' Kickstarters, right? We have a novel from Wraithmark Creative. This is called Path of Sona. It is by Richard A. Knaak, Knaak. It is $35 for an autographed hardcover. This is by Richard, who has also written for Dragonlance and other fantasy adjacent series. And it's dealing with the characters in the world of Squidmar Miniatures Sona universe. Okay. Blah, blah. No. Yeah, okay, I don't know what the Squidmar Miniature Sona universe with the name like Squidmar. Is it an underwater setting? Anyways, it's got a woman flying on a giant owl, and this is a book about her adventures, and it's set in the same world as these miniatures. And that is it for today. Okay, so my number one recommendation is Duckborg, because come on, how can it not? And my number two probably would be Era, just because, I want to support Ed since he was nice enough to reach out to me. And then this thing is probably really good. If you don't have one of these yet, just a campaign builder book with just, how to set up governments, how to build a castle, how to run a city. If you don't have it, Kingmaker and the campaign guide for Kingmaker from Paizo, still one of the best. But, this idea has been floating around the game hobby forever. So if you ever have a chance to pick one of these up, it's good. Even if you never use it, it's a good, mind game to see how you would do that thinking. So, yeah. The rest, not so much. Maybe this one. Nah. No, obviously, yeah, that one I've already given enough free press. You think they'd send me a freebie by now. And no, this is definitely my no. Okay. Anyways, that's it. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you think you're going to reach out to any of those companies and pick up the stuff, let me know. Support those nice small press contributors. And always don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Remember, I'm a mediocre, inexperienced POS, according to our friend Condor. So if any of those sound like something you want to support it. Who cares what I think? I'm an idiot, right? As always, hopefully you appreciate this. If you do, why don't you take a moment to subscribe if you haven't yet, and check out our friend Ed and give him a thank you for dropping by yesterday, and maybe check out his thing. Or, you could just support me instead. Anyways, that's it. Talk to you later.